All right, so another video with some blood work for the results of using 1 milligram of Retatrutide per week, just injecting sub-Q 1 milligram on Thursday, every Thursday. And this is not for me, this is for someone else. It's a female in her 30s. And the main focus was dyslipidemia, so like the lipids were out of control and the ratios of them, thyroid, um, blood sugar and insulin, and mitochondrial health, and also an assumption of gut health issues as well, because a lot of what goes on in the gut affects other parts of the body, especially the thyroid. So 1 milligram of retatrutide, and then the last 2 weeks before the test, back down to half a milligram because she was having some blood sugar issues. So during that time, we also had to increase carbohydrate consumption throughout the day and try to add in at least 1 to 2 more meals for frequency. This person has a sedentary desk job, and the main focus was training, resistance training 3 times a week, and cardio on a spin bike 3 times a week. So 6 days of physical activity and some sort, and then an active rest day on the seventh day of the week. We also did 5 milligrams of methylene blue in the morning, 500 micrograms of SLU in the morning, and oral BPC 157, 500 milligrams. And that we backed down to every other day after about 3 weeks, and also added in some fiber um, because the stool frequency was less than normal. And I'm assuming because she was eating less because of the retatrutide, which again, it's not a very strong effect on your gastric emptying. Like semaglutide is way stronger, and then tirzepatide, and then retatrutide. Retatrutide, it's more of a balancing effect of hunger and insulin and blood glucose and food noise. So I'm a big fan of that. So whenever Generation 4 comes out with an IGF, then that GLP I will love probably better. So let's go ahead and share my screen and let's take a look at what is going on. All right. All right, so these are screenshots of the blood work, and it also shows the current results and then the previous results. So uh, we have the results, that's a 6 month time span. Okay. We did not start this. Uh, we didn't start the protocol in December or January. We started it 2 months ago. Okay. So 2 months ago, we started the protocol. So the the numbers that are on December blood work is is the same, right? Also, keep in mind there's no dietary changes to the person's day-to-day food intake. It's really just dependent on eating less because of the retatrutide. But as far as the food choices, there was no change. We didn't focus on that. We did we did have her maintaining the high, she has like a moderate to high protein intake. It kind of goes up and down day to day. Same thing with carbs, kind of go up and down day to day. The fats are usually the one that doesn't change. So she has the same amount of fats roughly every single day. The carbs and the protein, they kind of go up and down, which you can tell in the lipid blood work. So first off, previous blood work, TSH is 1.5. Again, that's like, a little bit high um, for her not being able to convert the T4 into T3. So the thyroid wasn't functioning correctly. She's on thyroid medication, Jessica thyroid. So I would prefer Armor, but it's a T4, T3 blend, and you don't need to have a high TSH when you're on thyroid replacement because there's no need to have a regulator, kind of like a thermostat, to tell your body to make T4 and T3 because you're taking it exogenously. So it doesn't matter that's low. It should be low whenever you're taking the thyroid. T4, a little bit higher than previous. Again, we're going to look at a different screenshot. We'll have our T3, so you'll see it being converted into active thyroid. Right. So everything else down here, uh, the CBC, the platelets and such, there really wasn't any issues with that previously. I mean, we are looking at the gut health stayed relatively the same. Um, the only thing that I would say would just be she wasn't um, she wasn't sick, but she would just had some low blood sugar issues. So um, there might be some discrepancies on that, but nothing that stands out to say, hey, like your body's fighting the virus or bacteria. Um, and also red blood cell counts, the size of the red blood cell, it's all fine. So there wasn't an issue. So like her feeling um, tired and uh, kind of dizzy, it wasn't a platelet issue or a blood pressure issue. It was just a blood sugar issue, and we fixed that. Now the blood glucose, it did go down a bit. This really should be lower, but she was having the dawn effect. So the spiking of cortisol and glucose, and she's had an episode of passing out just one time until we fixed it with the increase of meal frequency and carbohydrates. She should have went in a little bit more hydrated the day of the test. Probably she only ha had like maybe less than a liter of water in the morning. And again, this having more fluids, being more hydrated can really affect these numbers and bring it down to even the glucose as well. So we see up here again, EGFR, bone creatinine ratio, relatively the same. So we're not really concerned about any of that. The ALP lowered, the the liver lowered a little bit better. So again, I'm a big proponent in SLU. Any little bit of improvement that we see, whether it be on say the EGFR, and if we got cystatin C, maybe there might even be a small uh, po positive change into it. But any type of like maintaining kidney function, maintaining liver health, um, I think SLU does a great job. But again, you have to stay hydrated for these blood tests. This first one in December is a little bit later during the day, I believe, and there's more hydration there versus less hydration on this one that was taken. So some numbers were skewed just a little bit. But again, that's just hydration. So that's not the problem. So right down here, this is a lipid. This is what really is awesome. So total cholesterol previous was 228. It's now down to 171. And again, we didn't change anything to her food. Triglycerides from 169 down to 82. This is a huge change, right? So triglycerides I'm looking at uh, for type 2 diabetes risk and thyroid function and blood sugar control and insulin production. Okay, so HDL, it did drop a bit, which is, that's going to happen, but the LDL dropped as well. So we're looking at a better ratio of the LDL to HDL and the triglycerides. So because the triglycerides are down, I'm not too worried about the HDL and LDL. A small drop in HDL, fine, in my opinion. There's nothing detrimental about that. So um, not bad. Um, because we were really focusing on the total cholesterol and the triglycerides, and also the she also lost body fat, so which is great while keeping strength. Let's see, tests dropped a little bit, and I'm assuming that's just because of the food. So the less food, like the less protein, um, and she's also on progesterone as well. During, I think this is, yeah, this was before cycle as well. So, okay. let's see, let's get rid of those. And, and let's get rid of, come on. This screen sharing thing is not allowing me to do what I want to do. Okay. Well, let's see if this works. Okay. So um, hemoglobin A1C dropped from 0.1. Great, right? That's what we're looking for. And cortisol spiked a little bit. And this is why I think the dawn effect happened. It's just because that's increase in cortisol in the morning. And again, what type of sleep did you have? What did you, you're fully hydrated? Did you have enough carbs the previous day? A lot of those things can change. C-reactive protein, again, down, 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 down. So we're reducing the risk of cardiovascular issues, events, and cardiovascular disease. If we look over here, the ApoB as well, down, right? This is what we want. So uh, she previously 107 down to 86. This is awesome. Okay. Um, so the estrogen is up, progesterone up on progesterone just once a day, prolactin up again. This is before her cycle started, period. Um, Insulin dropped significantly. So again, our main focus, blood sugar, thyroid. So previously 9.4 down to 5.5. Ferritin up, right? It went from a 37 up to an 83. And then the T3, the active thyroid, 2.8 to 3.7. So really, really good results. Um, and again, no changes to diet, uh, no no changing to the workout regimen, sedentary desk job, not too many steps throughout the day. So we're trying to gradually increase it. But the fact that she's feeling better, we're seeing a less risk of heart disease, which is uh, genetically predisposed in her uh, in her family genetics. And again, I wouldn't use that as an excuse to be like, oh, it's in my family genes. Everyone has these issues. You you have you have the option to take control, right? The gun might be loaded, but you have the choice to shoot or not. So I don't like that excuse. But the fact that numbers are moving in the right direction, and this is only 2 months. I mean, imagine if we slightly increase the Reta just a little bit, increase the carbohydrates a little bit more, lower the fat a little bit, make sure the protein stays the same daily, increase steps throughout the day. I mean, I'm a big proponent of steps. So if we make these small adjustments, which we only did in 2 months, we're going to see major progress within a year. So again, these small things are awesome to see. And again, it's not making it it's not making it inconvenient at all out of her day. So there's no um, extra commitments that she has to make. There's no stress on these. It's just day to day living and eating the food that she enjoys. Um, so I'm very, very happy with this, with the less risk of cardiovascular disease. She has another condition as well that happens typically annually. It's like a seasonal thing, and it happens like cyclical. So it depends on when she gets it. It's very random. So we're going to see if this helps to reduce the risk of that happening this year and maybe next year. So um, again, this is really, really good evidence with someone who is not on anabolic use, who has a 9 to 5 job, who's sedentary, and then they just add a little bit extra into their regimen and and have that consistency in exercise. And the slow progress is what you need. Though fat loss is also amazing. And so there wasn't even focus on fat loss. Like that wasn't even like the main focus. we knew the outcome would be some fat loss or weight loss in general. So we try to mitigate the risk of losing muscle because, again, muscle is going to help prevent any type of issues with osteoporosis, osteopenia, um, a reduction of a good immune system. So we were trying to mitigate all those adverse effects. So uh, we'll get another update probably another 4 months later and see what the blood work looks like as far as adjustments go within the plan. Um, I don't. I think we'll stop BPC 157. I, um, that may have helped a little bit of the C-reactive protein, but I really don't think so. I think that's the SLU and the retatrutide working together, and then increasing the methylene blue to 10 milligrams a day just to increase the mitochondrial health. Because if we can get the mitochondrial efficiency, and then I think she'll be in a good place to go back to a kind of a muscle building phase in exercise. Right now, we're focused on a hypertrophy phase, just to get more activity and um, use more energy throughout the day, or use more energy, yeah, throughout the day, like with EPOC. So how much more calories can we burn after the exercise? I think hypertrophy training does a great job in that, because for women, you're able to withstand endurance, and you have good strength relative to weight. So if we can do that, we'll see some really good fat loss. And the reduction of high lipids as your body tries to use more uh, avenues of energy. So it, if we want to, we can change some things with the diet, timing, training, and make it very, very efficient for, and very um, uh, and very like welcoming for a fat burning muscle building stage while focusing on that mitochondrial health. Because the last thing we want is to have mitochondrial dysfunction, and I think that's what causes the other health condition that she has. So if we can mitigate all this is great. Again, I kind of sound like a broken record, but kind of get it through your head. Again, no, there's no added stress to what we did with the regimen that we added, and I I think that there should be more of people kind of showing this. It doesn't have to be dramatic results. I think they try to wow you too much on the internet. This is literally just a 2 month transformation in blood work. If she wants pictures later on to show transformations, then we will do that later as far as physical ones, and we'll go from there. But this is very, very maintainable. Um, and again, we can now play around with cyclical or seasonal, whichever you want to call it, um, changes to diet, to supplementation and peptide supplementation. There's so many other things that we can go. We can increase dosages. We can add in dosages. We can, I mean, shoot. Uh, Skin tightening is another one. So the GHUCK, um, we can even add in that later on to help reduce any type of sagging in the skin, kind of tighten it up a bit along with the building of muscle. So yeah, and again, she's in her 30s, and we'll see what happens in another 4 months, 6 months, whenever we get blood work, and see where it's at. If you wanted to reach out to me in any way, just you can just comment on this. That'd be great, and I can help you out with whatever you have as far as your blood work. I prefer just kind of this type of training. I don't like to do training programs. I'm going to refer you to some other app or person that I prefer that you use for training programs. There's so many good ones out there now that have like a monthly subscription. And I just like to focus on kind of the little nitty gritty. And I don't like to be super scientific. I mean, we could always use scientific words and make it sound really like really professional to where it's like highly educated. But again, not too many people understand some of the words or some of the methods or physiological adaptations and processes in the body. So I'd rather not really get deep into it. But again, this is what is going on. Plain and simple, kind of layman's terms. We we are just managing some day-to-day intakes of supplementation and tweaking some things, but not stressing you out, not stressing the body, not changing your lifestyle, not changing your 9 to 5 job. So very manageable. And she also has 2 kids. So yeah, very happy with what's going on. I'm very excited. And to me, it was a surprise because this is something that we've worked on before and it didn't we didn't have results this well. I think we got something now and we're figuring it out and she's going to continue feeling better and better and better. All right, like, share, comment, subscribe if you got this far. That'd be great. And reach out if you have any questions. Linktree will be in the description. Click on it and then go to that and you can reach me on social media. Yeah. All right. Bye.